yesterday we created a employee ask employee details.html. This is our first file. Once we submit, it is going to save emp and the method is get or post. Once I submit it, the request parameters will go. Employee ID is equals to whatever I type. Request parameters will go to save emp. So in my web.xml for save emp, what is the servlet? Save servlet. Here, for the first time, the servlet will be initialized. Here I wrote the initialization logic. I have initialized my connection object because for every request I require a connection. I have initialized my connection object, and in service method I have written the logic to get the request parameters and then save it to database and then print this out, right? This is what we have done yesterday. But in the init method I have used servlet config. What is this servlet config? It is an object which represents the servlet configuration, as the name says. Where did I configure my save servlet? Inside web.xml, inside this servlet tag, right? So with all the information inside this servlet tag, the container will create an object of servlet config, and then that object is passed to init method, right? Fine. Any doubts? Then here I am doing initialization. Yesterday I asked you a question, why can't I do the same initialization inside the constructor of my servlet? Because I want to read the init parameters configured inside my servlet tag. So I want config object. In constructor, config object is not available, right? That's why we have tried inside init. Right? Any doubts till now? Next, I have a small doubt. Can I access inside my servlet, my service method? Can I access the servlet config object? No? How? Why? Why can't I access? Why can't I access servlet config inside my service method? Because servlet config object is passed to init method. I have overridden it. Am I storing this reference inside any variable here? No. If I want to access servlet config reference inside service method, what I could have done is I could do like this. I'll create a variable private servlet config. Okay, the instance variable of my servlet. Then I'll say this dot config is equals to, right? I stored an instance variable. Now in my service method I can access config dot, right? Whatever matters. Config dot get init parameter, right? Okay. But actually, am I overriding this init method? Where is the init method given body inside which superclass? HTTP servlet or generic servlet? Body is given inside. See here, see the API. This is generic servlet implementing servlet interface, and see here init method, is it abstract? No, only the method which was abstract is service only. So init method is given body inside generic, right? In generic servlet there is one more init method which is not taking any parameters, right? So just to give you an understanding, if I have to write a generic servlet, just I'll show you how generic servlet looks like so that your understanding will improve. See here, I'm just writing for your understanding. No need to write, you can write if you want. I'll say my generic servlet will be implementing servlet interface, right? And it has to provide the body for all the methods, right? So this is the init method, but generic servlet, did it implement service method? No, service method is abstract, right? And I have to make the class as abstract. If there is at least one abstract method, I have to make the whole class as abstract. Now see here, inside generic servlet there is a variable of type servlet config. Okay, and in the init method there is already a code which will say this dot config is equals to config, right? And inside generic servlet, if you see the API, they introduce one more method init which is not taking any parameters. So I'll just write it. Public void init, which is not taking any parameter, right? It is just a dummy method, but this init method is internally calling that, right? The init method which is taking servlet config as parameter is internally calling the empty init method, where in class is a generic servlet, right? And inside generic servlet there is one more getter method for servlet config. I'll just say it, okay, I'll just let this be servlet config, and here I'll say there is a getter method for servlet config, only getter method. Where is getter method? Oh, there's a method already called as get servlet config inside servlet itself, servlet interface itself. What is it returning? It is returning servlet, right? Now HTTP servlet is extending generic servlet, and my servlet save servlet is extending HTTP servlet. So in my save servlet, can I access this getter method? So it will return servlet config. So coming back to my servlet, save servlet, I need not do this, right? What I can do inside my service, I can say get servlet config. From where is it coming? Get servlet config from which class? Generic servlet is running, right? Servlet. So I can get the reference of servlet config by just calling servlet config, right? Now will this work or not? Suppose if I say config dot get init parameter, and if I say username, what is that? Same thing I'll do. Will I be able to get the username here which is configured? Will I be? Okay, let's see. I'll just run my HTML page first. Just observe what happens. I want you to understand the concept clearly. First I'm getting the HTML file. Okay. At null, I got null pointer exception at line number 60. I'll go to my console. See, in console I got line number 60. What is it? Here it is null. Why? Why? I want you to tell the reason. Why get served config is returning null? Tell me, in generic servlet, where is the private variable initialized? What is get served config returning? This variable, right? But where is it initialized? Inside the init method, which is taking servlet config. But what I have done in my servlet, I have overridden this method. Did I override init method in my servlet, which is taking servlet config? Yes. So will the init method inside generic servlet be called? No. If this method is not called, this will be null. Get served config will be returning null. That's the reason why I got null pointer exception, right? What I could have done is, in my save servlet init method, I could have called super dot init, and I'll pass. Is it okay now? Will it work if I run it now? Super dot config, super dot init will call the init method on the. So that means init method will be called inside the generic servlet. So this code inside generic servlet will be executed. So this will not be null, and whenever I call get served config, it will not return null, right? Any doubts still now? So what do you understand? Whenever you are overriding init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, don't forget to call super.init and pass config. Otherwise, you will get null pointer exception whenever you try to use config object in your service, right? But now tell me, if I don't override init method which is taking servlet config, if I just override another init method, empty init method, now how to get the reference of config here inside init method? I am overriding empty init method rather than generic servlet. Who is calling this empty init method? Inside your generic servlet, who is calling this empty init method? The init method which is taking servlet config as parameter is calling this empty init method, this overload init method, right? So will the control come here during initialization? What the container will do? Whenever the container has to initialize your servlet, container will call init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, and that method is calling the empty init method. If you have overridden, this will be called, right? But here, how to get the reference of config? Yeah, there is a public getter method, right? I can call in the init method, how to get the reference of config? By calling get servlet config. Okay. Right? Now what is the lesson you learnt? Whenever you want to initialize your servlet, where do you keep the initialization code? In which init method? There are two inits. The one which will you override the init method which is taking servlet config, or will you override the init method which is not taking servlet config? Which will take servlet config? Okay, let's assume that you have overridden the init method which will take servlet config, but you forgot to call super.init. Yes, it's natural, we'll forget. You forgot to call super.init. So I'll get null point exceptions. Right? Yeah, you can override init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, but you should not forget to call super. Why such a risk? Just to override the init method which is not taking any parameters. Right? Then write your logic like this. Right? I will be just typing the questions here. Just check whether you are getting answers for yourself. Where is init implemented? Generic servlet class. Why overloaded init method? Why did they introduce overloaded init method? Why? What if they have not overloaded init method? If there is no such overloaded init method, what we have to do for initialization? We have to always override init method which is taking servlet config as parameter. We have to do this, right? But if I do this, I should not forget to call super.init. So there is a risk that we may not always call the super.init always, right? So just for making it convenient, they introduced another init method which is not taking, right? So in generic servlet, there is a variable called as servlet config. It is initialized in the init method which is taking servlet config, and this init method is calling another init method, right? So it is always better to override the init method which is not having any parameters, right? Clear? Okay, so once you get this, now I have a small requirement. See here, in the init method I have written in init method. Is this init method called when my application is deployed? No, whenever I get a first request. So don't you think that whenever I give a first request, the first request will be slow? A bit slow? Slower than second request compared to second request? Yes, because whenever I give a first request, the servlet object has to be created and init method has to be called, right? So first request will be slow. I don't want to do that also. I want the servlet to be initialized when my application is deployed. So what I have to do? Going to web.xml, there is a tag called as load on startup. The default value for load on startup is 0. That means servlet will be initialized whenever you give first request. Any non-zero value, even you can give -1, -10 also. Any non-zero value for load on startup means this servlet should be loaded on start, right? So why is it giving error? According to DTD of servlet tag, See, whenever you keep your cursor on servlet track, you can see what is the order. Load on startup is coming after init param. So I need to keep load on startup as after init parameters, right? Now let's see. I will just restart my server. I should see the init method is called. See here. Are you seeing? No. I'll just restart. See, whenever you don't get expected output, what you can do is right click on Tomcat and you can say clean. Clean means it will clean the Tomcat directory and then republish all your code. Cleaning is done. Now okay, let me check save servlet. Yeah, so I'll just run it. Let's check. And if I give ask, what is it? If I give a request to this HTML, still it is not. What is the load on startup value I gave? Let me make it say 1. Just restart. Yeah, now you can see in console in init method, right? Okay, any positive value, actually it was working, maybe in the earlier versions it was working. In this version I'll check. Any non-zero value should initialize the servlet, but right now -1 didn't work, 1 worked, right? Any value greater than 0 you can assume now. If you give, the servlet will be initialized on startup, right? Any doubts? One more thing, let me tell you. In my application I have a file called as ask-emp-details.html. Now see here, if I just give /basic// just if I give my application name /, I want that same file to be displayed, right? ask-emp-details.html should be displayed for me, right? So what I can do is in web.xml, come down and write welcome file list, and here I will say welcome file index.html. Then another thing I will write ask-emp-details.html. Right, now let's see why I wrote index.html. There is no such file called as index.html in my application. See here, whenever I give / application name /, the request goes to Tomcat. Tomcat will see is there any welcome file is described. Yes. First it will check, is there a file called as index.html? No. If there is a file called index.html, it will display it. If index.html is not there, then it will come to next file. Is it there? Yes. So it will start scanning from the first. Whatever comes, whatever is there, it will display. Right? So that's why welcome file list. You can specify more than one file, but whatever comes first will be. Right? So, or in this case, index.html is not required. As I know that exactly what it is, I can just specify ask employee details.html. Now I'll just restart. Okay, now I'll just refresh. See, I didn't give /ask employee details.html. Just give / that file has been displayed. So whenever you want to specify a welcome file for your application, Generally, whenever we come to a website, a home page will be there. Home page can be given as a welcome file. So if you give just slash, then it will be displayed. Right? Any doubts? Here? Okay, now a small assignment for you. This is ask-emp-details.html, right? Once I submit, it's going to save emp now. Now I'll change action to display. I want you to write a servlet with URL pattern display, right? Earlier in my save servlet, what I told you, to get request parameters, I told you request dot, what is the method? Get parameter. If you give the parameter name, it will give you the value. But assume that you don't know what are the parameter names. You don't know parameter names. If you know parameter names, you are giving it get. Then you are getting the value. Dynamically, there can be n number of parameters coming as part of request. I want you to write a servlet which will print request parameter name, request parameter value. Check in request object is there any method which will do that. Write a new servlet, display servlet. The URL pattern should be /display, so that once I submit, it will go. I want you to write a servlet program which will print all the request parameter names and values. Assume that you don't know the names of request parameters. Just check. Still doing, just see here. I am writing a new servlet. The URL pattern I'll give /display. Request dot get parameter map can be used or parameter names can be used. It is returning an enumeration of string. So while e dot has more elements, e dot next element. So what is it? It is a request parameter name, string name, request dot get parameter. Now if you pass the name, I'll get the value. So again I want to get the out response dot get writer. I'll get the print writer. Then here I'll write out dot println name plus that's it. Simple code. I want you to modify the same program display servlet, and I wanted you to print request headers. Who is sending the request headers? Browser. Whatever information browser is sending, you can access through which object? Request object. Just see in request, is there any method to give you all request headers? I want you to put all the request header names and their values. Just see in request method, request object, is there any method to tell about headers? Write it. While request dot get header names, again I got an enumeration of a string header names. Okay, now I will just refresh the same page. Yeah, see, I got request header accept slash star slash, means my browser saying I'll accept all, anything. Referer, from where the request came to the servlet. Referer is this URL, right? From this request, whenever submitted, it came to here, right? Then accept languages, ENUS. My browser's language is US English. User agent is Mozilla /4.0 or compatible MSIE 8.0. These are user agent. And accept encoding. My browser is saying I'll accept GGP encoding or beeped encoding. Host localhost 6060. Connection type is TPLF. So these are the request headers. It will tell, request headers are telling some information about the browser, right? Okay. Now I want to tell about one more response parameter. Yeah, see, I think if you want to see cricket scores, yesterday I think you were seeing what ClickBoost, what is that? ESPN, Cricinfo. So what cricket scores you will be seeing some site. So will the scores be automatically refreshing? Yes. So what I want is, I want my page to refresh automatically after every 5 seconds. After every 5 seconds, I want the page to get refreshed so that I'll get the latest score. Right? So let's see here how to do it. If I want the page to be automatically refreshed, just go to your code in display servlet. I want the output of this servlet to be refreshed after every 5 seconds. Okay, just here to make sure that it is printing out.println, I'll say new date plus. So if it is printing date, if a refresh occurs again, it will print the new date, right? Okay, now if you want the refresh to happen automatically, then what you have to do is you have to set a response header. Response header means it will say something about response to the browser. So response dot set header. Header name is refresh, and the value I will give as 5. I am adding a header to response called as refresh, and the value is 5. The response goes back to the browser, right? Browser will see the response header and understand, okay, server is asking me to refresh after every 5 seconds. Okay, I'll refresh. Just see, run it and see whether it is refreshing or not really. I will refresh. See now the date, what is it saying? 53? I should say 58 after 5 seconds. Yes. Now after 5 seconds again it will change. Right? After every 5 seconds, browser is automatically refreshing. Right? Now in HTML, can one request parameter have many values? Tell me how can I give many values for a particular request parameter? Multi-select, yeah, multi-select is one thing. Checkboxes, like suppose here I am asking employee name, ID and everything, right? I want to give checkboxes. Hobbies, I want to ask employee hobbies. So for all checkboxes the name will be same. So one request parameter can have multiple values. I can have multiple hobbies. So in that case, how do you display multiple values of a particular request parameter? If there is only one value, we will use get request parameter. If there are more than one values, request dot get request, sorry, get parameter values. As the name of request parameter, it will give you values of all. It will give a string array. One request parameter can have multiple values. You can say, right? Just want to tell about it. Next, I have a simple requirement. Just let us learn by requirement by requirement. I have two servlets in my application. I'll write two servlets. /a /b. Two servlets URL pattern simple. I'll write like this. Now from browser I'll give a request to /a. /a, the servlet should do some logic, okay, and then forward the request to another servlet B, right? So what I want to do is, I want to make my servlet to forward a request to another servlet. Let's see how we can forward request from one servlet to other servlet, right? Okay. Just let us write one more project here for servlet forwarding. We'll talk about how to include a response of one servlet inside other, and how to forward a request, and how to redirect a request. Servlet including, forwarding, redirecting. Then based on that, I'll give you some more examples after this. So see here, 02 servlet forwarding, including, redirecting. I'll talk about all. Generate web.xml, and make sure that you select web module version as 2.5. Now simple, I just wanted to create two servlets. New servlet and com.mysys servlet A. I just write servlet A, simple. Next, the URL pattern, let it be /a only. You can give anything, you can modify, let it be same, as it is very simple, right? Next, finish, right? Now I will override doGet method and write something. Response dot get writer dot println, this is from servlet A. That's all. In servlet A, I just wanted to print this one. In servlet B also I'll write a similar code. Then we'll talk about how to forward. Similarly write servlet B. Here also I'll write response dot get writer dot println. This is from servlet B. Okay. So I wrote two servlets. So what I want to do is I want to give a request to, from browser I will give a request to A only, but I want servlet A to call servlet B. So how to do it? Can I do like this? New B dot do get. Can I call like this? I just said new B dot do get. Let's see whether it will really work or not. I'll give a request to servlet A. Let us see whether we are getting the output of both servlets or not. Oh, I got the output of both servlets, right? So I gave a request to A only, see the URL /A only, but I got the output of B. But is it correct? Is it correct way of doing? Do you find any fault in doing this? Output I got, that's fine. But this is not a good way. To make a request to container, one requirement is we should get an object who knows about all the servlets in the application, right? Okay, now understand this concept. I want to forward the request from servlet A to servlet B, right? There are two servlets, servlet A, servlet B. I will be able to forward a request to other servlet if I get an object who knows about all the configuration in web.xml. Okay. To understand this, see here, when the application is getting deployed, my container will read the whole web.xml, and with all the contents of web.xml, it will create an object called as servlet context. Servlet context. Actually, if I show you in the API, servlet context is a interface, but there will be an implementation given by right. So when my application is getting deployed, the container will read web.xml and will create an object called as servlet context. What information can I get from servlet context? Whatever is present in web.xml, all the information I can access from servlet context. Can I say now that servlet context knows about all servlets in your web application? If all servlets in your web application are configured in web.xml, servlet context is an object which knows about all the configuration in web.xml. I can say that servlet context knows about, right? Now, how do I get the reference of servlet context in my servlet? That's the question, right? See the link. When my servlet A is getting initialized, init method will be called, right? Init method is present in which class? Generic. I'll just write it here. This init method is present, right? But to call this init method, what is the object to be created? Servlet config. Servlet config contains what all information? The information present in servlet tag, right? So container creates an object of servlet config See, this is a servlet context object. It's a context. This is servlet context object. When is it created? When the application starts. When is servlet config object created? Before calling init method. Who is created first then? Config or context? Context is created first. Then when a servlet is getting initialized, you create an object of config. To this config, the reference of context is given. The reference of context object is given to this config, and config object is passed to my init method. So if I want in my servlet A, if I want to get the reference of context, how do I get? First call get servlet config. I got servlet config, then dot get servlet context. This is a way to get the reference of servlet context. Right? So this is a chain. Already context object is available when the application is started. Servlet config object will be created when the servlet is getting initialized. The reference of context is given to config. So if in my application, if I want to get the reference of config, at first get the config object, then get the context object. Till now, is there any doubt? Let me know. Clear? Just I told you how to get the reference of context, right? But don't you feel that it is a two-step process? First get servlet config from get. Right? I'm too lazy. I don't want to pay 2 steps for getting the servlet context. Right? So for lazy persons, in generic servlet, okay. Anyway, I have written how generic servlet looks like here. Yeah, I told that the generic servlet will look like this, right? So in generic servlet, they have written a method public. Return type is servlet context get servlet context. This is a method. Right? Here what it is returning is return servlet config object. Generic servlet has a reference of servlet config object dot get, right? So in generic servlet there is a convenient method called as get servlet context, which internally is returning context object by using config, right? This is a public method. Is it inherited to my servlet? Yes, in my servlet A, what I can do is I can directly call get servlet context. I'll get servlet context, is it? So get servlet context is just a convenient method. Instead of me getting servlet config and getting servlet context, I can directly get servlet context. This is a convenient method given for me in generic servlet. Right? So whenever I want a servlet context, I'll do like this. Okay. So now I got a context. So why I got context? Because context is an object which knows about all servlets configured in web.xml, right? Then by using context, see what I'll do, context dot get request dispatcher, get a request dispatched object for /b. What is the return type of this get request dispatcher? Request dispatcher. What is this request dispatcher? Request dispatcher is an object which knows how to talk to container, right? And make a request to container. So what I said, the client will give a request to servlet A. Servlet A has to forward request to B, but it cannot be done directly. It has to go through container. But how to ask the container? This object, right? So see here, by using this dispatcher, I'll say dispatcher dot forward request and response, right? There is a method called as forward, which will ask the container to forward the request to which server, to which servlet. See, while getting the dispatch itself, I said the URL pattern. So this request dispatcher can forward the request to, right? Now just run Servlet A and see the output. Yeah, I am seeing the output only from B, but see the URL. I gave to A. The request went to A. A forward to B, but I am not seeing the output inside A. What has happened? See, while forwarding, I gave a request to A and I have printed this one in A. Then I am forwarding it to B. I am expecting both outputs, but I saw the output of only B, right? Now I have a small thing. While forwarding, is it the same request object which is being forwarded? Same response object? So in B also the request object is same as the one for A, and response object is also same for as the one in A. So while forwarding, I am using same request object and response object. So here the request object is same as that of the one in A, right? Okay, once you understand this, what am I doing? I am saying response dot get writer. I will be getting a writer which will be writing to the from container to web server, right? So I have written. But do you think print writer is buffering or not? Print writer is buffering. So whenever I wrote this one, it is not immediately written. It will be in buffer. Once the buffer is full, then only it will be written. So in this case, what is happening? I gave a request to A and I have written to something to buffer. Then I am forwarding. What the container will do is, it will clear the buffer and then forward. It will clear the buffer and then forward. So that's the reason why we are seeing the output of only, right? But what if I flush the output also? You know, out.flush will flush. What if I explicitly flush the output before forwarding? Let's see. Now you understood the reason why I am not seeing the output of A, because before forwarding the container will clear the buffer and then forward. But I will try to explicitly flush. Okay, to flush it, let's see here. I'll say response dot get writer. I'll take it as reference print writer. Out is equals to then out dot println, then out dot flush. Okay, I flushed before forwarding. Now run it. Let's see what will happen. Oh, I am now seeing the output of Servlet. I have only, right? But see the console. I got an exception. What is it saying? Illegal state exception. Cannot forward after the response has been committed. After the response has been committed, it cannot forward. So the rule before forwarding is you should not commit the response. Committing means once you flush, the output is going from servlet A itself, right? That means the output has been committed. So remember, before forwarding a request, you should not commit the response. If you have committed the response, container will not forward, right? It will throw an exception called as illegal state exception, and the request will not be forwarded, right? So that is the rule to be remembered. Before forwarding, don't commit the response. If you have committed the response by using out.flush, the container will not forward. So you are seeing only the output of servlet A, right? So that's it about forwarding. So we understood that before forwarding, the response should not be committed. If you say out.flush, the request cannot be forwarded to servlet B. What is the exception thrown? Illegal state. Next. Another requirement is, if I am forwarding, what is happening without flushing? Without flushing, if I am forwarding, I am seeing the output of servlet B only. Now what I want is, I want the output of servlet B as well as servlet A. What I want to do is, I want to include the output of servlet B inside the output of servlet A. Servlet B will be outputting something. Include the output of servlet B inside output of servlet A. So now I will be seeing both, right? So if you want to include, simple, instead of saying forward, just say include. That means you are including the output of servlet B inside output of servlet A, right? Then after including, what I will do is I will just say out.println back in servlet A. Do you think that this output will be printed if I say include? Yes. So what happens? Once the control comes here, the control will be forwarded to servlet B. Output of servlet A is included, servlet B is included inside servlet A. Then control will come back. Then this also will be included. So you should be able to see all. Now run it. Let's see what will happen. See, I saw this is in servlet A, then this is from servlet B, then back in servlet A. So if you want the output of one servlet to be included inside another servlet, then you can do this, right? Any doubts? Let me know. Okay. Now, one more requirement I will tell. Same case. I will give a request to servlet A. Servlet A will forward the request to servlet B. Now let's talk about forwarding. Okay, but now assume that I will be passing employee ID as a request parameter. Question mark emp ID is equals to say 1. Whenever I am giving a request to /A, I will be passing a request parameter called as employee ID 1, right? In servlet A, I will write the code to fire a query on database and get the employee details for employee ID 1, right? So now I will be having employee object for ID 1 here. Then I will forward the request to servlet B. In servlet B, I want to display that employee details. I want to display the details of employee which is fetched in servlet A in servlet B. Right? So I want some objects to be shared between servlet A, servlet B. Right? Which are part of same data. So see here, I'll just modify. First listen, I'll give you time. I got a request. What am I expecting? I am expecting request parameter emp id. Okay, so I'll say request dot get parameter emp id. Okay, I'll be getting employee id. It is a string. Okay, I'll take it in a string only. String id is equals to, right? Then I'll create an employee object. Oh, employee class is there? No, right? I'll just copy paste employee object from my previous project. Employee object I didn't have. Okay. Then I'll create a new employee class here, just for demonstration purpose. Employee, which will have id and name. For simplicity, I'll just have two things: private is int id, string name, and you can have some more things, but for simplicity I'm just having two: getters and okay. I have employee. I'll create an employee object. So actually I told I'll fetch the data from database. I could write database code, but why to write database code again? You know how to interact with database. I just write a dummy code. Assume that I'm keeping the data. I'm not actually writing the database code. So employee dot set id, whatever id I got, it is an int, so I'll say integer dot parse int e dot set name. I'll just hard code a name which assume that it came from database. Something, right? Now in servlet A, I have an object of employee. I want to print the name and ID of this employee in servlet B. Anyway, I am forwarding it, right? In servlet B, I want it to be accessible, right? So tell me, for servlet B also, for servlet A and servlet B, are there any objects common? For servlet A and servlet B, are there any objects common? While forwarding, I am passing same request and response objects. So request object is common. So in request object, if I can set some values, the same thing can be got. So what I can do is I can say request dot set attribute. Attributes I'm setting in request. Attribute. I'll give a name. I'll say emp. Name can be anything. Our value is. So I'm setting an attribute called as emp and the object is employee. And then forwarding, right? Then I'll go to B. And here I'll say if I want to get request dot get attribute, there I set attribute. Now I'll say get attribute, same name whatever I gave emp, it will return me an employee object. I'll typecast it to employee. Then I'll say response dot get writer. I'll get a print writer. Then out dot println. ID plus e dot get. Then I'll write a br tag so that I can see it on new line. And then I'll say get attribute. Then I'll say get attribute. Then I'll write a br tag so that I can see it on new line. So that I can see it on new line. Then I'll write a br tag so that I can see it on new line. Then I'll write a br tag so that I can see it on new line. Then I'll write a br tag so that I can see it on new line. So now the concept which you understand is, if you want some data to be shared between two servlets which are part of same request, you can set an attribute in request object itself and you can get it, right? So let's see. I'll just run this A. Why? Number format exception, because it is expecting a request parameter called as empid. It was null. Integer dot parse it null. I got null pointer exception. So to pass request parameter, I can say question mark empid is equals to 123. Right? I hard code actually. Shiva. If you assume it is coming from database, it will come. Right? So just try to do this. Just analyze the concept. Let me know. When I gave a request to gmail.com, the request went to something at gmail.com. Then the response came to browser and said, now you make a new request to mail.gmail.com. So my browser made a new request to mail.gmail.com automatically. Actually, I didn't take mail.gmail.com. My browser was redirected to mail.gmail.com. When the request went to gmail.com, response came to browser and said, you make a new request to mail.gmail.com. So browser automatically made a request, right? So now the new concept is here, how to make one servlet to redirect to another, right? See here, I will make a request to A and I want the request to be redirected. Commenting. Okay, once I gave a request to A, this code will be executed. Let it be. I want to say response dot set status. What is the status for success? Status code for success. 200 for success. If the browser gets 200, okay, the browser will understand, okay, everything was successful on server side, I got a response. But I'll say 301. If the status code is 301, the browser understands, okay, I have to redirect, I have to make a new request to another location. The response what I want is not in this location, I have to make a new request to another location, right? So I am setting status to 301 and then saying response dot set header. I can set a response header by using set header. We have already set a response header already. Refresh. Similarly, I will set one more set header location. I'll say I want it to be redirected to servlet B. So I said B, the URL pattern of the servlet where I want to redirect. Now let's see what will happen. I'll just run A. So running, I'll just hard code this because otherwise it will get null pointer exception. I'll just hard code it to some 10. Okay, now I'll run. Did I give request to A or not? Again I will give A. Automatically browser is changing to B. So what happened when I give a request to A, the browser got the response, but the status code was 301. 301 status code in HTTP means it indicates redirection. Browser has understood, okay, I have to make a new request. But to which location? That is in another response header called as location. So it made a request to B. If I press enter, automatically it will change the URL to, the request came to B. So browser, is it making a new request? Yes. New request to servlet B. Right? When it was forwarding, servlet A and B are part of same request. When it is redirecting, browser is making a new request to servlet B, right? Request object will be new. So here, if I say request.get attribute emp, will there be emp? Browser actually gave a new request to B. So this object will be a different request object. So I'll get null pointer exception. That's what you are seeing, null pointer exception. At line number 20 of B, what is line number 20? I'll just right click here and say show line numbers. Line number 20 is this one only. Here I got null pointer exception. So while redirecting, understand that the browser makes a fresh request to servlet B in this case. When the fresh request, attribute emp is not there. So I got null pointer. Right? So when you are redirecting, don't expect that the request attributes will be there. If you are forwarding from servlet A to servlet B, forwarding, is it happening on server side only? Forwarding is happening on server side only? Yes. While I was forwarding, the client need not know whether the request is getting forwarded internally or not. Forwarding and including are happening on server side. The client even does not know whether the request is forwarded or included. But while redirecting, client only is making a new request to B. Right? So client knows that it is getting redirected and it's making a new fresh request. So request attributes will not be there. You will get null. Right? Any doubt? New request object, because a new request from browser. While forwarding, was it a new request? No. Forwarding was happening on server side itself. Right? So that was same request object was there, attribute was there. Right? So remember, while redirecting, it's a fresh request given by browser. So now can you tell me a reason why gmail.com was redirecting? Actually, to visit your Gmail account, what you have to do is you have to type such a big URL. You have to type first, if you want to go to Gmail, you have to type account.google.com/service login (service is equal to mail and will you type? Will you ever use Gmail if you have to type such a big URL? No. So you type gmail.com. Response comes to your browser. In the response, there will be a header called as location, which will be having this big value. Then automatically browser will redirect. Right? If you ever have to type such a big URL, nobody will use Gmail. Right? So for making our life simple, just give a URL gmail.com. You type gmail.com, it will redirect to someone else. Right? Any doubts till now? But I am still lazy. Oh, to redirect I need to write 2 steps? No, I don't want to write 2 steps, I am lazy. So there is a shortcut for lazy people. Response dot send redirect. There is a method called as send redirect. You just give B where you want to redirect, that's all. Right? Inside the send redirect method, they have already written these 2 codes. Right? So it's just a shortcut for us. Actually, this two lines are happening, but inside this one. So for us, we just say response dot send a redirect to B. That works. Just do it. Check whether you're getting same output or not. Next thing what I want to tell is one small requirement. In our first project, just going back to web.xml, right? Now you know about context. What is the context object, servlet context object? What information can I get by using servlet context object? Any information inside web.xml I can get it through servlet context. What information can I get from servlet config? Only the information present in that particular. Now in this case, how many servlet tags are there? First servlet, save servlet, 2 servlets are there, right? how many servlet config objects will be there in my application now? One or two? Two. One servlet config per servlet. Every servlet object will be given a servlet config. First servlet, this is one servlet tag, right? For this first servlet, there will be one servlet config object. For this servlet, there will be one servlet config. So, one servlet config per servlet. How many servlet context objects will be there? One. So, one servlet context object is shared by multiple servlet objects. Do you agree? Sure? Just see logically. Everything is logical. So, one servlet config per servlet. Because before initializing a servlet, it has to pass servlet config. Servlet config contains the information in that particular servlet type. Right? So, one servlet config per servlet. But one servlet context per application. True or false? Right? So, for one web application, one servlet context. Right? Now tell me, in Tomcat, how many applications can I deploy? N number. So, if there are 10 applications in Tomcat, there will be 10 servlet context. One per application. Right? Now, coming to the point, I have configured username and password for save servlet as init parameters, is it? In save servlet, how do I access this init parameter by using what object? Servlet config object. But these are required for accessing database, right? Let's assume I want to access database in my first servlet also. Come on, database access is required for all servlets. I may want to access database in first servlet also. So what I should do? Copy paste this init param to there also. Because the init parameters for save servlet will be visible only to this one. For first servlet, this will not be visible. Right? So sometimes we may want some parameters, initialization parameters like this, to be visible to all servlets. Right? So in that case, what we can do is we can just configure another thing called as context param. Outside of all servlets, I am writing context param. Param name, username, again context param. I could configure n number of context params like this. So these context params are not inside any particular servlet tag. Yes, so if you have anything to be shared by multiple servlets, then you use context params. If you have something particular to a particular servlet, then you use init param. Right? Now guess how to access this context param? By using context object. So servlet context object knows about everything in the WebData XML. So by using servlet context object, I can access the value of this. Right? How to? Let me just show you. In my save servlet, earlier I was using config dot, is it? Now I'll say get to servlet context dot get init parameter. So I am calling get init parameter on servlet context, not on, right? So by using context object, you can call get init parameter. First the parameter name will give you the value whatever is being configured in WebData. So if you have some parameters to be shared by all servlets, then you configure them as init parameters. Sorry, context parameters. If you have something particular to a particular servlet, then you use init parameters. Init parameters can be accessed using config. Context parameters can be accessed using servlet context. Okay. Any doubts? Now the next thing is HTTP protocol is internally using TCP/IP protocol. Do you agree? True or false? HTTP protocol is what? It will just say how the syntax of request should be, how the syntax of response should be. HTTP protocol talks about syntax of request, syntax of response. But does it talk about how to make connections? No. HTTP protocol is defined on the top of TCP/IP protocol. Right? Whenever you are using HTTP, you are making a HTTP request, it will be internally making a TCP connection. What is TCP? Transmission Control Protocol, right? Okay. Just understand that HTTP is on the top of, is built on top of TCP/IP protocol. Now, what is UDP and what is TCP? User datagram protocol. What is difference between TCP and UDP? Which one is connection oriented? And UDP? Connection less protocol. What do I mean by connection oriented and connection less? What do I mean actually? What do you mean? The connection oriented. Okay. 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 That's also correct. Let me tell you here. Just give me a logical answer. When I gave a request to this, there are a lot of images here. When you give a request, some HTML comes. In HTML, what we do to write an image? IMG tag. Source is equal to, will specify some other. Now, let's assume in a HTML file, I have 10 image tags. Right? So first you give a request to HTML. Right? Then connection will be established to server. Right? Once connection is established to server, server will get a request for HTML file, response is sent back. Once response is sent back, the connection is closed. Do you agree? What about the 10 images? The browser will make 10 separate requests for getting us images. Do you agree? One HTML file is there, a.html. Inside that there are 10 image tags. Source is equal to something, source is equal to something. I will give a request for a.html. Browser makes a connection to server, request a.html. The content of a.html comes to browser. The browser has to display the images. but it has to get the images, right? Images have to be downloaded again. What the browser will do is, it will make a new request for each image, right? So there are 11 requests totally, 1 for getting HTML file and 10 for getting 10 images. There are totally 11 requests, right? So whenever you are making a request, connection is established. Once the response comes, connection is right. So TCP, HTTP is based on TCP, and TCP is connection oriented protocol. What do I mean by connection oriented is, connection is there until you get the response, right? But when you are using UDP, what you will do, you will send a request, a simple packet. You will make a simple packet, put some data inside it, send a request, connection will be closed. Server will get a response, server will get a packet. Once it gets a packet, it will understand who is the sender, right? From that packet there will be information in that packet, who is the sender for this packet, right? Server will generate a response, it will create another UDP response packet, send it back to the client. That means the client is not waiting until it gets a response. When it is using UDP, just send a packet, then stop the connection. It will not wait until the response comes. But whereas in TCP, the connection will be there until the response comes. If the response is taking some 10 minutes, okay, 10 minutes is too big. If the response is taking some 20 seconds, 30 seconds, the connection will be still open. That's the meaning of connection oriented and connectionless. Do you agree? Once you understand this, I'll tell you, browser makes a request, server gets a request, sends a response, then forget it. HTTP is a stateless protocol, we say. That means server got a request, it will send a response and forget about the client. Again, same client sends a request. Will the server remember him? No. It's like Ghazni. You have seen Ghazni movie? Server is just like a Ghazni. In Ghazni, he will forget after 15 minutes. Sir. Here our server will forget even worse than Ghazni. After sending the response, immediately it will forget. So it's just like Ghazni. In Ghazni movie, what was the concept? How does he remember again? Suppose the hero is meeting a new person. He wants to remember him. So what do you do? Okay, take his photo, 2 photos, one for the other person and one for himself. And the back of the photo is write, okay, this person name is so and so, he is from so and so, to remember, right? When the same person comes again and meets him, he will not remember. What the other person has to do? Show the photo. Then what do you do? You take all the photographs and compare, match font, then see the reverse of the photo, there will be some information, right? So okay, that's how in Ghazni movie he remembers. Right? Here also Tomcat is a stateless. Tomcat does not remember anything. Right? It will forget. Once a response is sent, it will forget. Right? So if that is the case, see, I went to google.com. First time I log in. Once I log in, it will show my mail. Again I will click on link. Again if it forgets, and again if it asks me for username and password, it will be too bad. For every request it is asking for username and password, it's too bad. Until I sign out, it should remember me, right? Oh, this is the same Shobhusad who has already logged in, so it should remember me, right? So to make it remember, to make Ghazni in the Ghazni movie, to make him remember, photograph which he has given has to be sent, shown, right? Similarly, here the concept is cookies. In HTTP we have a concept called as cookie. Whenever server wants to remember a particular client, what the server has to do is send a cookie to the client. Cookie is nothing but a response header as well as request header. It can both as part of request, as part of. So a request came from a client. Server wants to remember him. So what the server will do? It will create a cookie. Every cookie will have a name and a value. Right? So server will create a cookie, add it to response, send it back to the browser. Browser, if it gets any cookies as part of request, It will store that in some temporary location, right? And whenever the same browser is making a request to same location again, same application again, then what the browser has to do, according to HTTP protocol, it has to send the cookies back to server. So server will get the cookies just like in the movie, the photograph, right? And then it will verify the cookie and then okay, I remember. Right? So cookies are a concept of HTTP to make something to be remembered by the server. Right? Let me talk about the concept for now. What is a cookie? Cookie is a HTTP header. Cookie is part of HTTP protocol. Cookies are not particular to servlets. This is a general concept belonging to HTTP. Cookie is a HTTP header, both request header as well as response header. Server can add cookies as part of response and send. Browser can add cookies as part of request and send. Right? Okay. To understand the concept, let me tell you a simple example. Based on that example, we will understand the concept. Okay. See here, when I gave a request to google.gmail.com, already my username and password is populated here, right? So I need not type. I can just press send. For the first time, if it is not there, there will be an option, remember me on the computer. Remember me on computer. If I check that option, then only it will remember me, otherwise it will not remember me. Right? So I want such a functionality. If I select remember me, the server, the cookies should be sent back to browser. Browser should be. So I want such a functionality. Let us see how that example works. I just tell you the scenario, then we'll go ahead with the example. Okay, see here, I want this functionality to be implemented. I want to write a servlet called as ask login servlet. This is ask login servlet. With URL pattern / ask login. The output of this servlet should be asking me for username and password. Text input. Once I submit it, the request should go to another servlet. And I'll just say this servlet as /log. So once I click on submit, it should go to a servlet with URL pattern login. What this should do is, it should take request parameters username, password, create cookies, username cookie, password cookie. Every cookie will have a name and value. Value will be the value whatever I enter. Create 2 cookies and then add cookies to response. Then output, okay, you are logged in successfully. That's all, right? So now, once the response comes back to the browser, will the browser get the cookies? Browser will get the cookies. Browser will store them in some temporary location, right? Now, after that, what I will do is, I will make a request again to ask login, right? The request will come to servlet. This servlet, what it should do is, it should check, are there any cookies as part of request? If cookies are there, then it has to get the value to the cookies, right? It has to display those values here, so that they are automatically populated. So for the first time, whenever I am giving, this will be empty. From second time onward, they should be automatically populated. That's what I want to do. You may ask me, okay, anyway this is going to be a HTML file. Why can't you write a HTML file for this? But for the first time it's okay. For second time what should happen? I should display username value and password value here, right? That means this page has to be dynamically generated. That's why I want it to be in a right. Okay. Let's write two servlets. Create a new project. Okay, I'll do it first quickly, then I'll give you time to do it. Okay. Otherwise, if you are typing parallelly, maybe you will be confused. You will not be able to concentrate here, or you cannot type it. Okay, I'm creating a new project. 03 cookies demo. Okay, now I'm going to create two servlets, only two servlets here. New servlet. What is the servlet? Ask login servlet also. You will ask for login details. Ask login. Packages com.mysys.ui. Servlets belongs to which layer? Presentation layer, right? Out.println we are doing in servlet. We are writing the output. So here we are writing presentation code. Servlets belong to presentation layer. Okay, I'll discuss about those things after this example clearly. So UI I am writing. Then here I'll write ask login servlet. Next, I want it to be slash. Okay, next, finish. Okay, so simply I want to just only write do get response dot get writer. I will get print writer. See what I'm doing. What I want output as HTML, right? So I'll say out dot println. The root tag should be, as I have to submit a form, I should follow the syntax. Earlier I was not following syntaxes properly. Now I want a form, so HTML should be there. HTML, and whenever I write a starting tag, I will make a habit to end it. It's a good practice. Then again out.println inside HTML, body, inside that I want a form, and then slash form. For form, action is equals to, tell me what I should give action is equals to. Once I submit, according to this diagram, once I submit, where I want to go. So action is equals to login. Okay. Then I will write simply now out.println. I will not use tables because it will be too complicated. I will just use username, and here only I will write input, type is equals to text, name is equals to, I'll say uname, meaning username. Then I'll write a BR. Similarly, password, type is equals to password, name is equals to also pwd. Okay. Okay, for our testing purposes I don't write password, I'll write text so that I can show you the same password. Okay, then afterwards I'll write a submit button. Input type is equals to submit, value is equals to login. That's all. Will this output correctly as I require? Let's check. I want only cookies demo, so I'll say remove all. All the projects will not be deployed, only this cookies demo will be deployed. Finish. Yeah, I'm getting it right. So Shiva XYZ submit. If I submit, it's going to login, right? So I have written it. Now I will write that login servlet. Next, new servlet, login servlet. The URL pattern should be same as whatever I gave in action, so I'm giving it /login